Hi there. Part two. This is part two. So had Joshua not gone to God and basically, went to him and pleaded with him as to, why did he allow to happen what happened, then we don't know how that situation would have turned out. They would have just kept losing battles, and who knows what would have happened. So it is important that we become vulnerable to God in order to really even have prayer requests answered. So, not only to protect our hearts, not only to protect our hearts from becoming callous and bitter and angered, but also to receive requests from God. So now I'm going to go into another example, another biblical example, and I'm going to go. This is King David, who actually King David, and I'm going to go to Psalmist, King David the Psalmist, and this is going to be 20. Let me see here, 23:5. I got a couple of things from the Psalmist. Let's see here, a couple of things. Go to 23:5. Okay, let's see here. So 23:5, it reads, and this, yeah. May he remember all your sacrifices and accept your burnt offerings. May he give you the desires of your heart and make all your plans succeed. May we shout for joy over your victory and lift up our banners in the name of our God. So this is basically reminding God, and actually I'm going to go into another one where we're reminding God of the things that we have done. I'm going to actually go to a few of them, kind of like put this all together here. So that's one. Then I'm going to go to Second Kings, and this one is 21-5. Okay, so this is now talking about Hezekiah's illness. So this was after, was shortly after God wiped out the Assyrian camp that was coming up to try and wipe the Israelites out. So, or Judah, I should say Judah, Jerusalem. Okay, so 20, Second Kings. In those days, Ezekiel became ill and was at a point of death. The prophet Isaiah, son of Amos, went to him and said, "This is what the Lord says. Put your house in order because you are going to die. You will not recover." Hezekiah turned his face to the wall and prayed to the Lord. "Remember, Lord, how I have walked before you faithfully and with wholehearted devotion and have done what is good in your eyes." And Hezekiah wept bitterly. Before Isaiah had left the middle of the court, the word of the Lord came to him. "Go back and tell Hezekiah, the ruler of my people, this is what the Lord, the God your father David says. I have heard your prayer and seen your tears. I will heal you. On the third day from now, you will go up to the temple of the Lord. I will add 15 years to your life, and I will deliver you and this city from the hand of the king of Assyria. I will defend this city for my name, for my sake, and for the sake of my servant David." So that was Hezekiah reminding God of his goodness and his faithfulness to him, a plea, and reminding God what he has done for him. Now, another one, Nehemiah 5:15-19. So we're going to go with Nehemiah. Give me a second here. 5. We'll go to 15. Okay, so 1519. This is Nehemiah now talking. So, but the earlier governors, those preceding me. So this, okay, I'll kind of like set the stage of this one here. So this one is basically um, Nehemiah as governor. And this is with the rebuilding of the temple. So he's talking about previous governors and how they ruled over the people of Israel when they were rebuilding the temple. So, but the earlier governors, those preceding me, placed a heavy burden on the people and took 40 shekels of silver from them in addition to food and wine. Their assistants also lorded it over the people. But out of reverence for God, I did not act like this. Instead, I devoted myself to the work on this wall. All my men were assembled there for the work. We did not acquire any land. Furthermore, 150 Jews and officials ate at my table, as well as those who came from us from the surrounding nations. Each day, 6 choice sheep and some poultry were prepared for me, and every 10 days, an abundant supply of wine and all kinds. In spite of all this, I never demanded the food allotted to the governor because the demands were heavy on these people. Remember me with favor, my God, for all that I have done for these people. Now, this is one plea that Nehemiah made to God and the good things that he did for the people. If you read the book of Nehemiah, Nehemiah says this statement: remember me with favor, my God, for all I have done for these people. Throughout the Bible, with various things that he has done, he tells God, he pleads to God, prays to God, and says, remember me for what I have done. There is absolutely nothing wrong with us reminding God of the things that we have done for him. When we are praying to him, when we are, when we are faced with certain situations and we are, crying out to him and asking him for help or for deliverance or for something, remember me. Remember me for what I have done. Remember me for the service that I've done for you. Remember me. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. And God does not hold that against any of us. And in Hezekiah's case, and in the psalmist's case, and in Nehemiah's case, he remembers them all. And there are many other great men in here who have come at him with these same types of requests. And he does not say to them, I dare you bring this up in my face. I dare you throw this up in my face. I'm God. God's not like that. God actually likes when you come to him. And I know when I had in dire straight needs, when I have actually brought up things to God that I had did for him, and he answered my request and my prayers as a result of me reminding him of the things that I have done for him in the past. So being honest and vulnerable to God, letting him know that, look at what I've done. Look at what I've done for you. Remember me. With the psalmist saying, like, who can, and that was another one I didn't read about, if I die, who's going to praise you? I can't praise you the way I praise you if I'm dead. So remember those praises. Know how much you like those praises, God. But if I die, if I perish, I'm not going to be able to praise you when I'm dead. So coming to God, reminding him of the things that you've done in the past. God does not look down on you for doing that. God does not say, who do you think you are? God actually listens, and it moves his heart, just like I read to you when Hezekiah poured out his heart and said, how I lived for you and everything. It moves God's heart. So coming to God, being honest, being vulnerable, really pleading with God, you're moving God's heart. You're moving. He loves that. So be honest. Let him know what you've done for him. Let him know the things let him know how you've helped people. Let him know what it was or that you've done. If that is a way that you need to become vulnerable in order to capture God's heart in such a way. You don't need to barter with God. You don't need to make promises to God. Don't do that. Don't put yourself in that position. He's not looking for you to do that. You do not make promises to your parents. You don't need to do that with God. You don't need to barter with God. You don't need to say, I promise. You don't need to put yourself in that position where you promise God you promise that you'll do this, and then you may not hold that promise. You may not end up keeping that promise. You do not want to put yourself in that kind of position where you make promises to God and think that you can only have your prayers answered by making promises to God. If God is going to give you something, you don't have to make a promise to him. You don't have to barter with God and say, I'll do this for you and I'll do that for you. You don't have to do that. If he's going to answer your request, he'll answer it. Like I said, if there is a will, if God is willing something a certain way, you can promise, you can throw every promise there is at him. And he's not going to change whatever it is he's willed and purposed because of your promise. So don't put yourself through that. He's your father, he's God. He wants to give to you what is in his will to give to you. You don't need to barter, don't need to make promises. But there is absolutely nothing wrong with you letting God know the things that you have done and to remember those things when you are coming to God and being vulnerable with God and asking God, to change whatever it is that you're going through, to alleviate whatever it is you're going through. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you doing that. Yes, coming, just being vulnerable, being in a place of just allowing God, being in a place where you are letting what you are feeling, what you are going through, letting it out to God, being honest. It develops connection, more intimacy. This is where it becomes a very intimate relationship when you are allowing yourself to be vulnerable to the things of God, vulnerable to allowing your what you're going through and what you're feeling. You're allowing to show yourself to God and not hide yourself. This is how intimacy is developed. Just like in relationships, the more vulnerable you become, the more honest you become, it develops more intimacy with an individual when you are vulnerable. When you're not vulnerable, that's when things, you're shutting things off. But allowing that vulnerability, you become more intimate, more close, and then you feel more comfortable with God. And God really does move when you allow yourself to become more vulnerable with him. And the vulnerability all of this vulnerability, it helps because you are releasing whatever it is you're feeling. You are releasing your anger. You are releasing your frustration. You're releasing it all to God. And by doing that, God can then provide healing in you. He can provide answers. You allow him to answer prayers, just as I've mentioned with these men of God. And because of them being vulnerable and being honest to God, prayers were answered. And like same for me, prayers were answered simply because I was vulnerable. And if the prayers weren't answered the way I wanted them to be, or some prayers were answered, some prayers were not answered because it was not the will of God to answer them. But God would let me know why they weren't answered. So God wouldn't leave me hanging in some limbo, unanswered prayers without telling me why. No, 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 no. He's letting me know no, and why it is no. Not, and why it is not. Yes, and why it is yes. So there is closure for me as to why I am going through what it is I am going through. Closure from their peace, contentment, because I know that God is with me and He's working everything out for my good. And so the no's were always protection, and the no's were no, they were protection. And the no's are, like I have a will, I'm taking it this way because there are certain things that I want for my glory. There are certain things that I want for my glory. There are certain things that I'm trying to release into the world. There are certain things that I need done in this world and because of it, I need to allow things to go the way they are going. I need things to go on the trajectory that they are going in order to release what it is I want to release, to do what it is that I want to do, to reach who I want it to reach. It really isn't all about us. And this is why it's so important to go to God, because in a lot of cases, it does feel like it's about us, especially when we're going through pain, especially when we're going through things that we don't want to go through. And when things don't look like they're going in our favor, we make it about us. And of course, we're feeling these things. So, it does feel like it's about us. We are going through it. So we have to take it to God because we are, if He's using us, we're still human and we're that vessel. So we need to know, why do we have to go this direction or do this? We need to release that and find out from Him. So and then He'll answer us, and then that helps with prevents the calluses, prevents the anger, prevents the bitterness. It prevents all these things from piling up on our heart. Because we know that we have a God who loves us. And we know that we have a God who is directing our lives. And we know that we have a God who listens to us and who hears us. He's directing our lives. He's in our lives. And we know that when we go to Him with these vulnerabilities, or we go to Him being vulnerable, even if we're upset, we're crying, we're in tears, whatnot, and He gives us an answer through a prayer request, a yes and no with an explanation, maybe not the full picture, sometimes yes, sometimes no, or relief, whatever, or, breakthrough, whatever. But this all comes as a result of us actually going to God and not being afraid and not thinking that we have to sugarcoat it and, come at it in a certain way. I'm trying to think if I have one more because I want to read all of these. No, I did. Oh, Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat. And so his one was another one as well. That I think I should just go into that one. I think I should go into the one about Jehoshaphat as well. And this one is in Second Chronicles. Second Chronicles. A lot of 20s here. There's like 3 20s that I went to. 3 chapter 20s, like different books, but 3 all 20s. So this is Second Chronicles, and it is 20. I don't know what's going on with the 20s here. and it is 10 to 12. And yes, so okay, this is Jehoshaphat. So this is when the Moab and the Ammonites were coming to fight the Jerusalem, and they were outnumbered. There was no way that Judah could win this battle with the groups of people that were coming at them. So I'm going to read off a section of the prayer that Jehoshaphat, said to God. So 20:10. But now here are men from Ammon, Moab, and Mount Seir, whose territory you would not allow Israel to invade when they came from Egypt. So they turned away and from them and did not destroy them. See how they are repaying us by coming to drive us out of the possession you gave us as an inheritance. Our God, will you not judge them? For we have no power to face this vast army that is attacking us. We do not know what to do, but our eyes are on you. So basically, this is almost like a challenge to God. And there are a few of these. There are a few of the Judah kings who actually presented this kind of challenge to God. Joshua actually presented the challenge to God as well when they lost the battle to Ai. But there are a few of the Judah kings who actually present these kind of challenge, all basically saying, you know, like your reputation is on the line here. Like this is about your reputation. This is about your glory here. Are you, God, going to allow them to basically, defame who you are by allowing them to win? We trust in you. We depend on you. There's no way we can, do this. So are you going to allow them? Hezekiah did the same thing with the Assyrians as well. So that he was another one. He basically said, you know what? This is your glory that's on stake here. This is about you. And so with Hezekiah and as well as with Jehoshaphat, like God, he sent his prophets to speak with these kings and basically tell the kings, don't worry, you won't even have to fight these wars. You won't have to fight this battle. This is a war for me. I'm going to fight this. I'm going to do this all on my own. You're not going to have to lift a finger. You can praise me. You can worship me. That's all you have to do. For Hezekiah, it was the same way. For Hezekiah, there was like 180,000 soldiers, and God killed them. The angel of the Lord killed them overnight. They were in the camp, ready to attack Jerusalem the next day, and the angel of the Lord killed them overnight. And so the king had to turn around and leave because he had no men to fight Jerusalem. And this is the same case where it's like the battle is mine. You don't even have to fight it. But these kings knew how to come at their God in another way and basically say, this is your glory. This is your glory that is on the line here. This is your reputation. We are depending on you. We can't fight this. We can't win this. And so are you going to allow your fame, your glory to be defeated with these mere men and your God who created them? So that's another way in which to come at God, being completely vulnerable to Him, in a time of need, in a time of desperation, when you're feeling, you're up against the wall, and you're just crying out to God and saying, God, where are you? And God loves a challenge. He really does. He didn't get mad at these kings who came at him like that. He didn't, look down at them or shun them in any way. He said, hey, no, You're not even going to have to fight this battle. This battle is mine. So these are kings who were very, very comfortable with being very, very vulnerable and honest with God. They had a relationship with Him, they had an intimate relationship with Him. And when things were not going out in their way, when they were faced with any kind of adversaries, or when they were faced with situations that were in dire straits and dire need, they went to their God completely and totally vulnerable, pleading to Him in various ways to get Him to answer prayers, to fight for them, to hear them. And in every case, He was faithful. There is no need for us to put on and try to come to God all proper and prim and like with a certain kind of language that we feel God wants to hear. We just have to be vulnerable and be ourselves when we present whatever it is we're presenting to God, when we are going through whatever situation we are going through. The best way to guard our hearts, the best way to protect our hearts from anger, from bitterness, from frustration, is to be vulnerable to God, allowing Him to know exactly what you're feeling, exactly what you're going through. Let Him know if you like it, if you dislike it. Ask Him, why am I going through this? And just be honest. And if he's like, God, I don't like this. Like, why are you doing this to me? Why are you allowing this to happen? And at sometimes you are going to have to go to God and say, forgive me. Know when you have to ask God to forgive you. Like I said, I know when I have to go to God and say, forgive me for the way in which I presented it. I do know and understand that you are God. I've gotten good at this. I've gotten better at it. So I'm I don't come at it as aggressively, but I am quite honest with God. I am quite blunt with God and letting Him know that, yes, I do understand that you are sovereign and that this world is yours and there's a will, but I don't like this, or help me here or help me there, or why aren't you doing this? And he answers my prayers. And like I said, it may not always be the way I want it to be, because if He's still working the situation out, then He's working that situation out. And I mean, no is no at the end of the day. And if yes is yes, or not right now. Right now, so some things it's not a yes. No, some things it's a yes, but it's a yes, but not right now, yes. And then some things are no. And some things are yes, it's right now. And so, yeah, and but I have found, I'm just for myself, the conversations, the encounters that I've had with God, by being very, very vulnerable, He's revealed so much to me about situations and what I'm going through. Let me know the yeses, the yes but not now, and the no's. And with the no's, He would provide me a reason as to why. And sometimes He wouldn't provide me the answer right at that moment, but then maybe as months go by, and then He'll let me know about the no's. Or the yes, but not right now, yes. That's another one. And so it's like, why not right now? And so that's probably the most interesting, yes, but not right now, because there's a lot of, variables as to yes, but not right now. So, okay, yes, but why not right now? Well, because of this and because of that and because of this and that, this has to happen and this can't happen. This has to be stopped. This has to be prevented. Can't move forward until you know what the road is clear. So there's a whole lot of variables going on with the yes, but not right now. Yes, more so than with the yes and with the no. With the no, no is no. And he may give you an answer to the no. And I mean, if he gives you an answer to the no is no, like with Moses. But Moses, having the relationship that he had with God, um, you know, he wanted to try, as children do, with parents. But no was pretty, like pretty obvious. But the yes, but not right now, that one tends to have the most variables going on. Like, why? Why not right now? Why can't it be right now? And then, of course, there's the yes, where the request is answered immediately. And like I said, sometimes when the request is answered immediately, it may not be the way we want it to be. So it's like, okay, yes, you brought me relief, but it's not the way I wanted it to be. And it's, well, yeah, because um, this is the reason why. So that is my message for today on just being vulnerable to God, and a request, like guarding our heart by becoming vulnerable to God. So if you are not a follower of Jesus Christ, I would highly implore you become one. Um, it will be the best decision that you will have ever made. Give him a year of your life. Of course, I want you to give him more than a year, but like give it like a trial, like how you do those trials, like a trial for 14 days, a trial for 3 months, see how I like it. If I like it, then you know what, I'm going to stick with it always. Like, we all do those. We all have those, things that we do, trials. And if we like it, then we continue with it. And so if you're a little apprehensive and you're sitting on the fence about God, yeah, give him a try. Give him a try. Really, truly, what do you have to lose? You have everything to gain. You have absolutely nothing to lose by giving him a year of your life, committing to him, confessing your sins, admitting that the Lord Jesus Christ died on the cross for us and is our Savior, and wanting to do away with your old lifestyle, making a 180. And just following him, and like investing your time by reading the Bible, spending time with him through prayer, and yeah, prayer, reading the Bible, trying to think worship music. And you can't change yourself. You cannot change yourself. Allow him to do that. Of course, there are works. Just because you can't change yourself, there are still works that we have to do. One of the works would be prayer. So when we find that there are certain areas in our lives which we really struggle with and which we really have a difficult time with, of course, we're going to have to pray about it. But we do have to make changes. Like if, people in our lives are, you know, destructive. They live destructive lives. We have to make choices in our lives to pull ourselves away from that type of lifestyle. So there are certain things that we do have to do, like we have to pull ourselves away from certain lifestyles, from certain, environments. But then there are changes within us that we can't make, and we do need to rely on God, on Jesus Christ in order to do that. So don't try to change what you can't change. Pray to God and ask God to do that work in you. But most importantly, develop a relationship with him, a relationship where you are not, where you just like a friendship, forming a relationship with a friend. You're not putting on pretense. You're not trying to be somebody you're not. You're just trying to get to know him and allowing him to come into your life, into your world. And when you are having difficulties, when things are going on wrong, then you become vulnerable to Him and just pray to Him and ask Him, what's going on? I'm not liking what I'm going through. So give Him a year. And I'm sure after the year is up, you are not going to want to turn back. And so that's all I have for this message. And until I speak with you again, take care. God bless. Mwah.